All right, game number 7 for the Boston Celtics as they host the San Antonio Spurs at TD Garden. Welcome into another edition of the Celtics pregame report for CLNS Media. My name is Joseph Pavone. I'm joined by Christian Arcand from Dirty Water Media, here to break down this marquee matchup between the Celtics and the Spurs. Arcand, thanks for taking the time, man.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. Always good to talk with you. Always good to talk with Mr. Crosway Street here. This is a big game tonight.
Oh, absolutely, man. The Celtics coming off 4 straight wins. The last 2 were easily the most impressive wins, where we saw Kyrie Irving and Al Horford just shine in both outings. Is this something that we can get used to, Christian, seeing these 2 guys regularly carry the workload? Or do the Celtics still need to heavily rely on the production of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum?
Well, I don't know if they're going to have to heavily rely on any of it. They're all working the way they are right now. I mean, you wouldn't really have to say they have to heavily any of them. What so you just brought up is the almost instantaneous chemistry we're seeing right now between Al Horford and Kyrie Irving, which for me, Josue, I don't know about you, but that was one thing I was legit concerned about going into this year, is it seemed like Isaiah Thomas and Al Horford had really gotten very good at playing together and spreading the floor, but, Horford's just a very talented big man. He finds, his spacing is great, the pixie set passing ability, and I think you're picking right up where him and Isaiah left off. And I think that's huge. That's huge for this team that's happening so fast. So I think, if they can continue to do that, that'll I think shoulder most of the workload and kind of allow Jaylen Brown to continue to develop into the superstar he started to look like this year. And behind him, I think Tatum right now is further along than Brown was.
Yeah, I think one of the most encouraging signs out of the first couple of weeks of the season is seeing Al Horford be more assertive on offense. Like that fourth quarter against Milwaukee, for him to take that many shots, that was always the biggest knock that we had on him last year.
Yeah, really. That was the lack of shot attempts, I think, was a big one. You and I talked about this all the time. Why doesn't Al Horford take more shots? He'll go like 4 for 9 from the floor. It was like 6 points and 7 rebounds, and it's like maybe if you took 14 shots, you would have had 30. But it always seemed like he was right there, like he was right on the cusp of being able to take over a game. Like he'd be the only one whose shot was going in on certain nights, and it just never quite happened that way. But if this is gonna be a trend for him, if he's gonna keep being aggressive like this and getting his own offense going, and there's a lot I think that we still haven't seen yet as far as Al Horford is concerned. I'm not expecting him to be anti this year or anything among his cousins, but he was very good last year, and I think he can continue to get better. I think we're seeing it already.
So the Celtics last week were granted the NBA's disabled player exception for the loss of Gordon Hayward, which grants them an $8.4 million exception. Christian, what do you think? Does Danny Ainge go out and grab a free agent to help this team? Should they get in the mix with Phoenix for Eric Bledsoe? Well, of course, that is if Phoenix will actually pick up his phone calls after what happened with the Isaiah Thomas deal. How do you think this pans out for the Celtics? Is Bledsoe even somebody that you think would fit well in the system? Should the Celtics go out and get him? What's your take on it?
I don't know. I don't think Bledsoe would hurt them. I think that he'd certainly probably be off the bench, honestly, if you think about it. Maybe in the, I hate to say the Evan Turner role from 2 years ago. I'm still hung up on Evan Turner, Josue. Do you still miss Evan Turner, or is it just me?
I don't miss him one bit, no. For $17 million, no, I don't.
That's right. I agree with that. It was way too much money. But, there's someone to sort of spark the second unit. It's definitely, I think, room for a guy like that here. And who knows? I think he's a really good player. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the league. But there's a limit, I think, to what they can really do and what they can afford to stay here, even with the money exception. As far as free agents go, the free agents is early on in the year. I'd almost rather they just sort of look to their G League program and see what's going on down there. That's the later pick. But for me, I think that it's good that they have the flexibility, and that if something like that were to happen, if they really needed to sign somebody and it looked like there was someone worth signing, sure. But Gerald Green, who's even out there? I don't even know.
I think it begins and ends with Gerald Green. I think that's the list.
Listen, I like Gerald Green, but he's a free agent for a reason. And he went off a couple of times in the playoffs last year. He had that 18-point game, and then they started him, and then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, this is Gerald Green you're talking about here, guys. Isaiah Thomas isn't around, but let's not get too carried away with the whole Gerald Green thing. I don't know. Listen, there's always, I think on this team, you got a good starting class, but the second unit isn't exactly blowing anybody away there, but they'll get better. Ojale will get better, and I think Aaron Baines has been playing really well, but the scorer off the bench I think would be a good look for this team. Certainly doesn't replace Gordon Hayward, but I think it's definitely something they should look into. I don't know how successful they could be now at this time of year with free agents. I mean, come on, it's not going to be anyway.
So up until last weekend, the Spurs were undefeated, which is an impressive feat for a team that was playing without its best player in Kawhi Leonard. How has this team been so successful without their most important player? And where do you put them in terms of the contending Western Conference teams below the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Well, I'll say this. The reason why they're still playing so well is because LaMarcus Aldridge, he's been awesome so far this year. Looks like a totally different guy. But before we get too carried away on how great they've been, they did just get seen by Orlando. What is up with the Orlando Magic, Josue? Where did they come from? I didn't even know 4 players on the team. They're still starting to eat one more, I think. And they're, 4-1? They have the best record. They're now, and they beat San Antonio by like 40 points the other night. And they just, the Spurs lost to the Pacers. They're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. And I think that's good for the Celtics. But as far as where they rank, I think they'll be fine. I really like Kid Murray, the guard there. And Rudy Gay's been playing well. There's still plenty of ballers on that team. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard's a big loss, but I think they'll be there in the end. Very well coached, obviously. I think they've got the best coach in the league, and they still got a ton of talent there, and they'll compete. Top 5, I'd say at best. It's hard to really put them any higher than that without Kawhi, but I think they'll still be there in the end for sure.
It's unbelievable what Popovich can get out of his guys, huh?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's great, and it's not just because of the things he says about people, but in terms of and what he does, his record speaks for itself. I mean, there's not much that still needs to be said about Greg Popovich, that's for sure.
This edition of the Celtics Pregame Report is brought to you by the great guys over at Greats.com, the makers of great, classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers that are sold at a great price. Head over to Greats.com and enter the promo code Celtics Roundtable to get yourself 15% off your first purchase. That's Celtics Roundtable over at Greats.com. Make sure you use that promo code. All right, Christian, it's prediction time. Who wins tonight?
I honestly think the Celtics could do it tonight. I think that you gotta get a handle on Aldridge, and Aaron Baines, I think, has done a really nice job on some of these big men, on Monroe with Milwaukee and some of these other players. That Baines is really showing himself as a defensive force right now, and Irving and Horford are hot. The kids are hot. I think this could be a real fun game tonight, and I think the Celtics can win. I'm going to go Celtics 115, and I love the defense they've been playing lately too. I love all the steals and turnovers they've been pushing. It's been a pleasure to watch. Marcus Smart and all these guys. I was worried that was going to be a problem, that the defense would fall off without Crowder and Bradley, but they've been almost better, it looks like. So I'm going to say Celtics 115, Spurs 102. 13-point home win for the Celtics.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, Christian. I mean, we got 12 steals one game, 11 blocks another. I mean, they're out rebounding teams now. I mean, where did this come from? We haven't seen the Celtics team in quite some time.
Yeah, really. I mean, the perimeter defense has been good, but I mean, when you thought it would take a step back, replacing Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder with a guy like Kyrie Irving, it hasn't at all. It's gotten better, and you're right. They're actually out rebounding now, which is, you never see that. I mean, that was really lacking last year, and now it's just part of the show. So yeah, I'm feeling good about the Celtics team right now. They're hot. Spurs are on the second night of a back-to-back. They've lost 2 in a row. I'm feeling good about this. I think Celtics win comfortably.
All right, well, he is Christian Arcand of Dirty Water Sports. Make sure you check him out every Friday night at The Greatest Bar. You can check him out live. That's Christian Arcand. Tune in also to his podcast, Arcand at Night, for Dirty Water. Christian, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for stopping by.
Josue, always a pleasure, my friend. Talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Sounds good, Christian. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics Pregame Report. Special thanks once again to my boy Christian for checking in, and to everyone who tuned in to yet another pregame report on CLNS Media. Guys, make sure you check out the Garden Report after the game on the CLNS Media YouTube channel for all the raw and uncut videos from the locker room and the press table right after the game. Weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel, on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.